Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I've Got Questions. I'm your host, Katie, and today I have the best guest with me. Yes, I am joined by the infamous. Okay, infamous might not be the word I want to use. They're my sisters, so they have to come because I told them they had to come, so they had to be here. So I am very happy to have them on. But before we go any further, I just want to remind you guys this is the podcast where curiosity runs wild. Just guard your loins, get your drinks, because Lord knows the conversation is very much weird. Like a lot weird. Oof. And the advice, as always, unsolicited, but you're gonna get it either way, whether you ask or not. And misery loves company, so I grabbed some other people who may or may not share my opinion. We'll find out very, very, very soon. So without further ado, I'm happy to introduce the trio, the Powerpuff Girls. Okay, maybe not the Powerpuff. Which one of us is Blossom? Which one of them is older? Blossom or Blossom? You know what? We're gonna move past that because clearly I ain't fit for
Why did I have to think about that?
I don't know. I don't know where. Like I said, it just gets weird. Okay, but like I said, I've got two amazing people here with me. In the Manchester United shirt, a team she can't even spell, is Rasheen, and the ever fashionably late but has to be fabulous Shanique. Did you just wave at the peoples? They were like, why is she waving at us? Don't be weird.
Calm manners.
Oh, I think the word you're looking for is hello. But no, very, 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 very happy to have you guys with us today. And today we're going to be talking about a topic, or should I say, we're going to answer a question, or a few of them at that. What do you wish somebody told you sooner? And my oh my oh my, I know some of the questions we have are going to be silly, some of them are going to be serious, and a few of them might make you stop and think. But just for the fun of it, we're going to start off with a quick icebreaker. What is something you wish you knew sooner? See, I'm going to start with me. I wish I knew that just because you went to Amazon and bought everything to do your own nails does not make you a nail technician. It does not. It does not. I am learning that the hard way because I've watched enough YouTube videos and suddenly I'm like, I'm a professional. Turns out, no. I came the other day to do it. One of the brushes were bent backwards because I left it in. Anyways, enough about me. What did you say? Something you wish somebody had told you? That's a small thing. The awkward silence you hear here will be inserted with crickets. Because I feel like it. Remember, you know,
Nice small thing that I wish someone had told me is to value sleep.
How is that a small thing?
It is small.
Every doctor, every PhD doctor along the East Coast, West Coast would tell you you need sleep.
At one point, I thought I had all the energy in the world. I don't know. I could do the parties, stay out late, get right back up, and then go to work.
Yes, man.
And I thought, oh, I'll have this forever. It's a lie.
From the pit of hell.
It is a lie.
From the pit of hell.
And if I was throwing tantrums at a toddler and refusing to take naps, to my mother, I apologize. I really should have capitalized on those sleeps.
Oh, we didn't think they were important back then. No. We didn't find the value in them. And as we grow older, I know everybody's like, oh, you will learn as you get older one day. And I'm like, no. Somebody needs to write this down on a piece of paper, tattoo it into our skin to remind us, because all the things that we thought we knew then, now we're like, Jesus, boy. Like you said, wouldn't you give anything to take a midday nap just in the middle of work? Just move to France. They have, or one of the other Spanish-speaking countries, they have siestas in the afternoon. It might work out for you. They clearly capitalize on something.
I could do that.
I feel like they had something going on. What about you, Shanique?
For me, I would say I wish somebody told me to start investing sooner, or saving money. I wish that
Fresh out the blocks.
I wish the girl.
why she throwing shade at her like excuse
It's
me?
like y'all told me in my teenage years, but if you told me to like get a job at 4, so you don't have a house now, and I don't have a house now, so yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah. If
Wow.
I started working at 4 and 5, I would have been further along.
I feel like child labor is frowned on no matter what you look at. I feel like I really feel like
I wish there was child labor. It'd have been easier for me right now.
In
you
this
know
economy,
what?
It came on climate.
You know
it'd have been
what?
easier for me.
But keeping with that, and investing, one of the things I wish somebody told me was to never ever go to the grocery store hungry. I
Never thought about
I walk in, my belly full, I have the list,
You get it.
listen to a little bit of the good music, push my little trolley, get out. I go in hungry,
Oh, you're right. You're moody.
me need everything in there. I need chips, crackers, bread, sweets, frozens, vegetables, seafood, meat.
All things that you never did
Everything
before.
suddenly is a requirement to me.
I would be the opposite. If I go in hungry, I am moody, and so I want to rush to get out to go and eat something, and chances are I might miss some of the things I went in for. But if my belly is full, I could stroll. I'm not rushing to eat, and then I might overspend. It's really no win-win situation. Think about it.
I don't think I'm winning here, but
I'm
okay.
not winning.
I
I can see the logic.
mean,
can see the
I buy 4 bags of chips, and suddenly I'm like, I feel like I need an extra one of these chips. You're like, you're not that hungry, but I'm trying to cover all my bases just in case. If I feel like I need some fruits, I have that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the frozen meat, but you just never know. I might need a little something. But it's funny because when I go into the supermarket, I can't speak for other people, but I go up every aisle, even if I don't need anything. And I do that the same way when I'm driving.
Why are you on the pet aisle?
Exactly.
Do you have pets?
Listen, I just want to see what the newest brands of kitty litter is on. Okay, I'm like, did they finally come up with one that doesn't sell? Because I might want to get a pet down the road. I'm checking. But you know what? The same principle. When I'm walking up and down in the store, I don't know if you guys have noticed when you're pushing your trolley, that you're supposed to be on your right side or on your left side, depending on how you're shopping, and it's the same way when driving. And so when I look at it now, I'm like, the same rules apply when you are driving. And it is one of the things I wish somebody had told me, that if you are in the left lane, it's for passing. It means, hey, we got places to go, things to see here. And if you're in the right lane, but that applies in the States. Here, it's the other way around.
Yeah.
But nobody adheres to that rule here.
No.
Now, in the States,
Exactly.
but here, I'm like, pick a lane and just don't go behind the slow
Whichever lane
person.
is going the fastest is the fast lane.
Yeah, I mean, that and the 10,000 roundabout, then we have to go around, just,
Yeah.
But I laugh when you talked about sleep, because this part is about a little bit more of those lessons that you wish somebody had told you. And it really, that topic kind of syncs with what I'm about to ask. And it's, why do we grow up thinking we earn rest when it's needed, not rewarded? Because you see, you go to work every day and you take a couple days of vacation, and you're like, oh my God, I needed it, I earned it. And you're like, but this was always a requirement. So, for you, it's sleep. You need to rest, rejuvenate. But why do we do that? Is it a societal thing? Is it culturally embedded in us? Like we feel like we have to?
I think it's society, and could be a little of how you were raised. It's almost like everything is a reward, per se. You are told you have to work hard.
But as a kid, you didn't. Your reward was,
You get a roof over your head.
good point. I guess that
I
does
mean,
count.
if you think about how we were raised,
Yeah.
that is the reward. If you said to mom you would need some allowance or some money because you did some chores, she would tell you that the pay is I gave you a roof over your head. And then there is the food. And so that you go to work with that same mindset. You go to the job, you do the work, but then you get paid. And then you
Yeah.
reward yourself with the vacation.
Yeah,
per
but
se. But rest is needed
But
to survive.
the trick and the crazy part about it is that each generation looks at it differently. Because you have Shanique's generation that is more, oh, I'm you can rest assured. One thing is for sure, and two thing is for certain.
I'm sleeping.
We gonna rest,
Yeah.
and then work is now secondary. So is it that they no longer view work as, I guess the way we view it, it's more for them. Rest is rewarding. Work is rewarding for them. In fact, in terms of it gives me the money I need so that I can go rest. Versus for us, it was we were working so hard, we just need a small amount of time to rest. I don't know.
I think in your generation,
Oh, not our.
in the millennial generation, sorry. I think it was mostly about, okay, I live to work.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if I get a job, especially when I would hear, you and Rasheen growing up, it was always like, I got a job.
Yeah.
I got my first car, and work was like technically your reward to be
Yeah.
like, I'm a grown up now, and so on. But I feel like Gen Z now,
Tread lightly.
I feel like I'm not speaking for every Gen Z, but for me, yes, it's fun adulting, but it's even more fun vacationing. And the reward for me is actually going around backpacking, like exploring the world, getting closer with family. Like that's
Yeah.
my reward, because you're just you're gonna end up working every day of your life. That's how I see it.
I mean,
So-
that is.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
That is a
but I
very
think
good point.
It also goes back to, it could be a generational thing, because
Yeah.
it's not that I love work,
Yeah.
but there's a part of me that knows I need to work. I have bills. I have to, and I would be fearful,
Yeah.
thinking it would be great to go backpacking.
But
But then I'm
on the
like,
mountainside.
I can't take 6 months off work. What would happen to my mortgage? What would happen
I
to,
mean,
so I feel like it, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's a knock on Gen Z, but
yeah.
a part of life is to making it easier for the next,
Next generation.
generation. That's really what you're working towards.
Oh wow.
And so I am still, my generation hasn't
Yeah.
really crossed that line.
Yeah,
to-
we're not said that, but
Yeah.
when I reach that part of it, we haven't made it there. But it's interesting that you say that, because it really it made me think, even with your perspective and our similarities in it, nobody ever told us that not everybody would understand us. And it's okay to not be understood by everybody else, because your views on how work should be in comparison to what you do in vacation is different from yours. But we grow up and we're like, why don't you understand me? I'm speaking in a way that everybody should understand. Or I do something and you're like, you don't connect to this. Why don't you understand? When in truth, that line, as you said, that barrier hasn't been broken down, and we haven't leaned into the prospect that different views, different ways of approaching things doesn't make your way wrong. You go to work 9 to 5, you get your $2, you have your bills. These are things that you have acquired, and I'm all for remembering the 2 C's: choice and consequence. Whether the consequence is good or bad, even though we've put a bad annotation when it comes to consequence, we're like, oh my God, no, once it says consequence, it means bad. No, this is just a result of your choices. So you going and you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out here. I don't work so I can live. Or the other way around. Yes, when I go with a deep analogy. Me I go off in one whole ditch where me I try to be a philosophical quoter.
Don't love your job.
Job yourself. Don't love your
Sorry.
job. Job your love. What is wrong with you? Job your love.
I'm sorry. I had to.
What kind of which philosopher wrote that? I saw that and I was like, girl, you're doing
Yeah,
too
girl.
much. You're doing what? Make that make sense. Make it make
You
sense.
had me and then you didn't.
But again, I'm sorry, you had me and then you didn't. You lost me. You had me. No, you didn't. You really didn't, because I was trying to see where this was gonna go, and it derailed quickly. It just imploded. I'm like,
And
The-
then the guy was like, I love that. I love that.
I love
Like,
that. That is so deep. Listen, while Gandhi out there, like, come here, let me talk to you. What the hell are you talking about? This is stupid.
Sad.
That don't make no sense. But anyways, keeping with that, I must say, another thing that always comes up is, and I am guilty. I have asked myself this sometimes, and I'm sure you guys can connect as well as to understanding why isn't it obvious that boundaries aren't selfish? They're healthy. Is it that we're shifting the culture, changing how we view things, how we do things? Because let's be honest, speaking from a younger person's perspective, boundaries were not in our household.
No.
Spell it, and what it means
Yeah.
was not what it means now. For me, setting boundaries is being able to say no, and me love no, no, no. It's just solid. But why did it, for all these times, seem like if you said no, then you're just selfish. You don't want to be a part of something. It's like, no, I'm protecting my peace, because this don't serve me, and it's not selfish to protect yourself. You want me to show up. I never forget. I have a friend. They were having a get together, and I was like, yeah, oh boy. And I really tried to be out. I don't want to. Not because I didn't love them, not because I didn't care. I just didn't care to be there at that very time. And my friend said to me, he says, I can assure you that friend would respect you more if you declined and said, no, I'm unable to make it. Again, you don't have to give no detail because no is a full sentence. Then you showing up.
Yeah.
And ruining
Yeah.
because your face are gonna tell us you never one day,
Yeah.
and your attitude, no matter how you try to hide it, you gotta set those healthy boundaries to say no. And I feel like only certain people at a mature level can understand that without taking offense or thinking you're being selfish.
But the flip side to setting boundary
You
is
hear this when I come with the flip side. No, like nobody ask him. Anybody ask you to flip nothing.
sorry.
Jesus.
It needs a certain level of confidence to be able to set boundaries. Because you did say it, you did not have any such thing growing up. I know in most Caribbean households, boundary is a myth.
Spell it.
You know, it's a myth.
No,
It's things you grew up hearing about, but you know, you've never experienced it yourself. And so all that has done is created adults who do not know how to set boundaries because you weren't able to do it as a child. And you can learn boundary as a child, right? It's not about having your own way. It's just being able to say no to something that you don't like, and being
Ladies
able
and
to
gentlemen,
express yourself.
That's that gentle parenting thing with that boss.
No, it's not
just
gentle
kidding, I'm just
parenting. But you can be right
Yeah.
as a child.
Yes.
You can have a different perspective, not necessarily that it's a right or wrong, but it's a perspective that just makes sense. Just looking at something from a different perspective can be helpful in situations. But
Even though my way
growing up,
always right, but that's
you
all
were
right.
never given the chance to express
Best.
yourself at all. It was
Yeah.
always do this my way. And then what do you expect for us as adults to do? It's just ingrained in you now. And so asking adults who never had the opportunity to create boundaries
True.
for themselves
Why
and
you
children.
said boundary? Why we quotation?
To now suddenly be like, oh, I'm gonna. Think about the times when you didn't want to go to your auntie's house. You couldn't say no.
I don't think you had an option to
didn't
say
have
no
an
to going to
option.
anybody
If you didn't want to go to grandma's house.
except your friend's house. I wish you would ask to go to your friend's house.
It's a no.
No.
It's a no.
Solid
I
no.
mean, that's a whole different conversation. I we know why. I mean, as adults, we can see why. But you never had a chance to say, no, I'm just not up for something. It was, you must do this. And so as adults, it's the same concept. Your friend invited you to the party. You probably didn't want to go. But
No,
that
we never
child
did
in
want to
you
go.
was like, yeah, but... And so, I mean, granted, you didn't go, but for the most part, a lot of people haven't overcome that hurdle yet.
I said no.
To make
It was a
boundaries for
firm.
themselves.
It was a firm. Hey,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't have to say cough, cough, sneeze, see somebody granny died. It was just,
Yeah,
hey,
just
I'm
said-
unable to make it at this time. We catch up on the next one. And the argument done and the case closed. What about you?
For me, a little bit of what Rasheen said, definitely the no boundaries.
So we're gonna sit down and analyze like she a Gandhi, like she have
However, however, I would say for me, it was more about being at work. So, for example, Kenisha said no to go into her friend's party, and you would have adults who don't know how to do boundary themselves. So Kenisha saying no would be like, well, why do you don't want to come?
Now you gotta explain
if it was
yourself.
me, I put in the oh Jesus. If it was me, I put in the effort to come, and she's not coming, and then it makes it look like you're selfish. And I've had times like that where I'm at a workplace and I'm trying to have my own boundaries, and everyone surrounding me makes me feel like, why did she say no? This is how we do stuff here. We're a family here, you know, something like that. So for me, even if you already know how to set boundaries, there's always people that will beat you down and say, well, you shouldn't have had those boundaries because technically we're all one.
That
We're all
feeds,
one.
Oh, that feeds
So if
so
you're
good.
outside, then you're out of the box, and then they look at you like, is she weird? Is she selfish? Is she uppity? Like you're to your side. Like, why are you so quiet? And it's like, it's not that I don't want to enjoy myself or want to, what should I say now? Want to be in your circle or experience certain stuff, but there are certain things that I don't believe in or
Don't want to take part in.
Yeah, that's
Just
not
don't
my
wanna be part of
belief.
it.
I just don't want to take part in it, and
No,
it's like,
but
you get,
Shanique,
what
when
do
I
you
tell
mean
you-
you don't want to get part in this?
No,
So,
you're
yeah.
saying it absolutely perfect, because I feel like we're flowing so well. Because the next question that I had is, why is it so hard to accept that you can be the villain in somebody else's story and still be the hero in your own? That feeds right into it, because people will make, and it's the one thing I've taken from my grandmother, people are going to talk no matter what you do.
Yeah.
You don't do nothing, boy, you're worthless. Why you ain't done nothing?
Yep.
You do too much, lad, you do too much. You're just
Extra.
uppity and extra. You're in the middle, you need to do more.
Yeah.
You don't, there's
Oh,
never.
drive.
But I've really leaned into the idea that people are so okay with making you the villain in the story, never telling how and when that version of you had to come. Okay. And I saw this TikTok thing that says, I am okay with you telling people I am the villain, as long as you tell them how we got here, what I did, and all of that. And keep in mind,
And they're not going to do that.
and they're not going to do that. So yeah, I will be the hero in my story. Why? Because let's be honest, who's going to talk bad about themselves? Nobody.
Nobody.
And it takes a level of maturity to say, hey, all right, hold on, let me dial it back and realize, say, all right, me was a junker that one. I might have did, my wings them came out, I might have fanned out a little bit. Now me need to dial it back, and that's when the apologies come in. But more often than not, everybody's okay with just pretending as though, oh no, this person's, they're the worst, they're the this, they're the that. And I will go out on a limb here, a very, very tiny shriveled up limb, and say, there are some times when, yes, them is a junker. Because my belief is, one person say it, that's their opinion. 2 people say it, 3 people, you're a junker. You is a junker.
At some point, you're the problem.
At some point, you are the problem. You are putting up your hand.
I'm going to add to that a little bit. I think that when you said the whole thing about villain,
Yeah.
because let's say you set your boundary for the first time, and you said, okay, I don't want to do this, and they talk you into it, fine, you do it. The second time it happens, they talk you into it, fine, you do it. And then the one time you put on your foot and you said, I'm not going to do this, it's like everyone looks at you like, how dare she say no? And sometimes I see people who try to set their boundary and they have to go above and beyond what they're not. So if they're a person who's quiet, they have to stand firm and get loud just to say, I don't want to do this. And it's unfair that I have to come with a character to tell you I'm trying to set a boundary.
It's a no.
So
Yeah.
sometimes they're not villains. They have to go above and beyond to say, bro, I'm not doing this. Like,
Yeah, and stand firm.
and stand firm.
I think that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's standing firm.
Yeah.
I have a teammate who does not drink. She used to, she doesn't anymore. And it is almost like an allergic reaction when she goes out and you go to every restaurant and they're like, would you like a drink? And she goes and they're like, what do you mean you don't drink? And she's like,
Exactly.
it's okay, I don't drink. And she shared an experience where she went somewhere, she was offered an alcoholic beverage and she said she didn't drink. And she said, do you have some water? And they're like, yeah, you got to buy it from over there. And she's like, but you're giving out the alcohol here for free. But I got to go buy the, okay, whatever. It is what it is. But no, it is always interesting how when you set those boundaries, you suddenly become the villain.
Yeah.
When you stand up for yourself, you find people saying you're selfish or you don't care, and it's like, no, that's not the case. I am protecting myself, and there's nothing wrong with that, because when they say no, I know.
They mean no.
They know me no, they O and me no, the O I O, the amount of no's is just no.
Yeah.
To add to Shanique's point about you said yes 2 times and 1 time you say no, people are not allowing people to change. You're allowed to change, you're allowed to grow, you're allowed to. you are allowed to. Right? But if you've gone your entire life saying, I like tap water, and tomorrow you decide you like sparkling water.
When you look at me with this shit, you were looking at me with all that shit. That was not even discreet. You totally just pick up one whole forest and put it on me.
But that's within your right to do so.
Is it? Come and feel like you're judgment. I feel the judgment right now.
But outside of the water, it is within your right to want change for yourself.
Yes.
And you might have been okay with something even yesterday, even this morning.
Again, the judgment.
But
Unmatched.
this evening I decided I don't want that for myself.
So much for a judgment free zone.
And as such, I should be allowed to change my mind. And people I realize are not forgiving, and if your change doesn't align with their beliefs or their wants, then that's where the real problem.
Like here, put on
that's where the real problem comes in. But you're allowed to change your mind. It's how people grow in life.
I completely agree with you. I think one of the thing for me is I have to remember when you step into somebody's life at that point, that's where you meet them. And you have people who come into your life at chapter 2 or let's say chapter 15. They hold that view of you.
Yes.
And not realizing that you're now at chapter 45. Not saying you're 45, you get my point.
Oh, wow.
You're at chapter 45, and that person no longer, why? Because the character develops, they mature, they move on, but we don't extend grace to people anymore. We don't allow them to change. So they come in at that point, they see you as a jankro, they hold you in another position, even though you've now gone on to become a pigeon.
Yes. I don't know how, but yes. Woo. That evolution from jankro to pigeon.
I mean, hey, listen. But it could have. I'm not saying you're an eagle, okay? Let's not get ridiculous. So you still a bird.
Actually evolved like a caterpillar to a butterfly, but we're going to go with jankro to pigeon. Yes.
Jankro to pigeon. That's how we're going.
Yes.
But they can't see you beyond that. And so when somebody does come to them and say, "Oh, do you know this person?" Yeah, them is a jankro. Now that person may have come and had an encounter with you and said, "No, man, I didn't have the same experience." Well, and then start to project all of their experiences that they've had with you.
Give them time. You're so said true color.
And I'm like,
give people grace.
Allow them. But some people also, we have to admit, some people are okay staying where they are. They're complacent. They're content. Then just that's where they are. They're never going to be anything more than who they are. And we also have to give those people grace and realize the level of maturity that is required for them to develop beyond that stage is clearly not being afforded or extended to them. And I have to be okay with that. That is why I don't waste time arguing with people. Not because it's an intellectual thing. It's I am at a level where I realize I do not need to engage in an argument with you either to get my point across or to validate your opinion. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
Yeah.
Some people, no matter what you say, will never change their perspective on anything.
Oh, no.
So what me supposed to do? Me can't take off your head and put your throw 2 pieces of sense in there. But yeah, it is always interesting again to just balance that feeling of setting your boundaries and being okay with being the villain in anybody's story. It's all right. You miss it, and even though so mega really and truly revise somebody in Disney show I'm watch because I'm starting to guess and spell who the true villains were in them. I'm just saying, some of them I'm just like, I don't really know. We need context and perspective.
As a child, I see the heroes. As an adult, I get the villains. That's business.
We get it. We get it.
Yeah,
I'm looking. I'm like,
it's a valid crash out.
yeah. You was a jankro. You was a jankro. Now me know what. Now the jankro that became a pigeon, he's a jankro. Yeah. Just gonna put that out there. But that being said, it's time for no stupid question. And in this segment, it's where we answer those questions that then just in there is a safe space. So it's all right. I got you. I'm gonna just answer and ask and answer and ask the questions you never asked me. You see where I'm going with this? No. So much for no stupid questions, right? No stupid questions. But no, I think this question really feeds into what we were talking about. It really embodies everything, and it allows us to kind of have a different approach and just kind of look into the way we set those boundaries. So the question that has been asked this week is, if learning from mistakes makes you wiser, why can't you just borrow from someone else's wisdom? Now, again, Gandhi, hold your thought. Well, me and regular Joe over here kind of put it together. But I always ask myself, do I really need to put my hand in fire to know that it's hot?
No. No.
Maybe. And here, I'm going to extend you some grace because...
Trial period.
I'm going to extend you some grace. But... what do you think? Do you think you really need to learn the lesson on your own to actually grasp it? Or is it okay sometimes to just learn from somebody else without...
Both. Some mistakes you don't need to watch for the fire to know it's hot. Point and case. You've seen somebody else do it. You know what the possible outcomes are. You do not need to go down that road. Especially if it's a bad decision.
Outcome is the same outcome. What if I am like Daenerys Targaryen, who's the mother of all dragons, who can go in the fire and come back? Oh, no? All right, too far. Okay, too far. Too far.
But in relation to your question asked about pouring out someone's wisdom, wisdom is something you, I guess, gain throughout your life after getting different experiences in different scenarios. And so while you do not have to watch for the fire to know it's hot, you can also just take somebody's wisdom and make it your own and suddenly become, I'm wise. And I don't need to have any life experiences on my own because no two person travel the same path. You and I, perfect example, we're sisters.
I am an eagle, you's a pigeon, I get it.
Yeah.
Birds the same way, we all fly.
We were raised for the most part by the same parents. But we are not the same people.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And that's just an example. So yes, you and somebody could be going down the road together.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean your outcome will be the same. You might have different obstacles along the way. So yes, I get wanting to make your own mistake for the most part. But not every mistake should be repeated. You can take the lessons that
the wisdom of somebody else and
mistake, and then apply it, I guess, to your foundation, and then you build on that.
So
going forward.
I could never agree with you more because somebody, when I call no name, but somebody started this by saying, I wish I was told how to invest when I was 4.
Yes.
Now, how are we going to work that out? Because you see, we don't know nothing about that was not a lesson that was taught to us. It was not something that we aspired to learn. It wasn't a thing. So how do we now pass that information? Why? Because we're older. We are more mature in the sense that we've acquired homes and properties and all of those things, and we're learning that. How do we help the person with no name, not called no name, get to that point where she now sees the benefits of the wisdom that we have and utilize it to her?
Well, there's something called bank transfers.
And with that said, thank you very much.
Foundation has crumbled.
The whole foundation gone. We're not going to go there. That is it for no stupid questions. And no, you're cute. No. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this episode up. I want to personally thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate the wisdom from Gandhi and Gandanisha.
Yes.
Because you know, dash out wisdom like it or just
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And of course, the way I view it is sometimes it's better to get it later than never.
It's true.
And whilst these things we wish we would have known before, I feel like it has saved me a lot of money from walking through Foster's many supermarkets and buying many amounts of groceries, $50 later on chips.
I want to point out that I know you say, you asked the question, what is something you wish someone had said to you earlier in life.
That's literally the whole episode.
But the next, the flip side of that is, would you have known what to do with the advice at that age?
Nope.
Maybe another question.
And on that note, see, you just dropped like, oh, that's like so much right there. Just, my brain is not a, we're not gonna say that. I'm not there for that. That is amazing though, because no, you're not drawing me there. No.
She was about to start.
We're about to do a whole other conversation again. Save it for next time, Glandanita. We're gonna come back to it because that does require us to deep dive in, and I really think it is something worth exploring, because just because you know it and you get the information, do you then know what to do with it?
Yes.
And so knowing, whilst I guess knowing is half of it.
Mm-hmm.
What to do with it is the other half.
And
so
then
again,
you end up making mistakes.
all right, you know what?
So,
We're going to
either
wrap this
way.
up. Thank you very much for joining me as always. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We are here. Come to me in the DMs. Give me those questions. We're always here to answer in a judgment-free zone. And I say judgment very loosely. Very, very, very loosely. But I want to also thank my guests for joining me. I appreciate you guys' time. That is it. Until next time, stay curious. Bye.